Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Corey, better known as the Seaman, and I want to welcome you to another edition of the Seaman's Cinema Sit Down. 3 quick housekeeping notes. Construction for the first time in a while has been rather loud, so I apologize if that's coming through. 2, the hair, it's a lot shorter. I took it off. I did a video on the haircut. You can see it up there to get all the deets, but a quick look, there's no product in it, which is why I'm wearing the hat, because it looks a little funny without. But yeah, long on top. It's kind of similar to when I started the channel, just a little bit of a different style, but I'm loving it. My barber, Lisa, thank you so much. You crushed it. Take a look at how it looks when it's done up correctly in that video. And third and lastly, look where I'm at. I'm in the chair. I don't sit here too often anymore because usually just fresh out of the theater. Reactions are over there. But this was a movie similar to Halloween Ends. It took a little while for me to digest and know how I wanted to talk about it. And Halloween Ends, as soon as I got home, I was ready. This one, it took a little bit longer, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down in the old chair and throw it back old school style, man. It's been a while. So let's not waste any more time, man. We got a DC rock film. 2 things that I haven't talked about what feels like quite a while. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, why don't you pull up a chair, take a seat. We're getting ready, of course, to dive in spoiler-free into Black Adam. And man, this movie is unfortunately a mixed bag for me. I was excited but also nervous. It feels like The Rock has a little bit too much control and input, and in some ways I think that's a great thing, specifically for things that could be coming in the future. If he's accomplished the things that he's accomplished because of this movie, it's nothing but a win for me. But it is one of these things where, like, having the amount of control and not really feeling like a comic book fan or someone who's really diving into the material, I had things I was nervous about. But I had things I was excited about. We've seen the trailers. The action looked insane. The brutality of Black Adam was definitely on full display. And I gotta tell you, both of those worlds, things were true. And that's kind of where I land with this. So we'll start with the stuff that didn't work for me, and then get into the stuff that really did. Because I had a blast with this movie. I had a lot of fun. I would see it again if someone was like, hey, you want to go see Black Adam? And I would recommend people to see it. If you're, a DC fan, a rock fan, a comic book movie fan, see this thing in the theater. But if you're not, and it comes out on streaming, I think it's totally worth a watch. However, the script here, it's not too good. Adam Stiegel, Rory Haynes, and Sorab Nashirvani. I just killed all your names. I apologize, but not great. This is a really generic comic book movie for me. I do think, like I said, from a comic book perspective, this movie feels like they read the Cliff Notes. They pulled things that were interesting to create a character that would thrive with The Rock playing it. And there are definitely Black Adam vibes in there, but they change a bunch of things, certainly from the origin story. And while I think what they create works for this movie, I'm in a world where I would, you could lean into, like, there's a couple moments in the movie where I don't think it hits as Black Adam, or it rings true to Black Adam. Yes, he's been an anti-hero in the comics, not always a villain. He's worked with the JSA. He's got a really good relationship at times with Atom Smasher. But some of the decision-making didn't hit true for me, and it really felt like it went that way because we were creating a version of Black Adam that The Rock could play. Now, that being said, that version inside the context of this movie, I think, really does contribute quite well to The Rock and what he does. And I think some of the ideas around the anti-hero and where they live in relation directly to the superhero are interesting. But some of the stuff with Kandar, specifically the idea of, like, military rule and the reason you might need an anti-hero like The Rock, didn't quite hit. And things like the Intergang, which is, there's some fascinating stuff with that group and why they would be there and what they would be doing there. It's just completely ignored, and they're just there for, The Rock to pick off, which is a bit, unfortunate, because you could highlight that stuff and not just have awesome action, which we will talk about, but, like, have things in the story that, like, really add to those things. And I feel like this movie is missing and lacking in those departments a lot, outside of the character of Black Adam. But after that, there's no character development for anybody else in this movie. I mean, two characters that I feel are fairly mishandled are Sarah Shahi's Adriana Tomaz and Bodhi Sabangui's Aman Tomaz, Adriana's son. A twist on those characters from the comics, but they're stories that I think are misutilized and not really, they don't really hit the way that you probably should have made them hit. And play into some of the things around Black Adam that are a little wonky for me. And honestly, the kid actor idea, like, while it works in Shazam, really doesn't work here in Black Adam. And unfortunately, Bodhi Sabangui is just not very good. But then outside of that, like, there's no development around any of the JSA characters. If you don't know the comic books, you're gonna just be, like, clinging on for dear life trying to figure out why these characters are here, what they're doing here. The choices they make for why they're here and what they're there for are kind of interesting, and I don't necessarily, like, they were a little weird for me, but, like, whatever, because I was really happy to get the JSA on screen from an action perspective. But I mean, you want to talk, like, I don't know Cyclone and Atom Smasher that well, but I'm familiar with Dr. Fate and Hawkman's stories, and those stories are fascinating. Those characters are there's so much depth to them, and you don't get any of that here. This movie ultimately for me feels like early days comic book movies, where it's like, as long as it's entertaining and the action is dope, it's a win. And we're so much further ahead of that, and the movie, like I said, tries to play with some different concepts, but most of them don't kind of hit or really add or enhance the movie in any way. And that's really disappointing, because I'd love so much stuff in this movie, and we're just in an age where comic book movies can do more than what this one is trying to. And I really do think it feels generic in the script, where you're hitting a lot of comic book tropes that we've seen before. We're literally stealing things from Doctor Strange and Deadpool and Drax and Flash, and it's just, I don't know, that stuff just wasn't hitting for me. Direction-wise, Jamie Collette Sarah, he does alright, but it really feels like he was there to serve The Rock. And it doesn't feel like he has any kind of real, like, defining thing that makes you go, oh yeah, this is a Collette Sarah movie, you know? And yeah, the action and stuff is really well built, the visual effects are tremendous, but like I said, I think the movie, the way it's pieced together and the way it ends up playing out, just kind of feels a little bit messy. And that's unfortunate, because you waste really good performances from, shocker, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Now, he's not reinventing the acting wheel in any way, and honestly, because of the way Black Adam carries himself, he's very stoic. And that face is pretty much what he is the whole movie. It does make him a little one-notish when he's not out doing stuff. But when he is flying, when he is electrocuting, when he is killing, the brutality, man, that stuff is so good. And The Rock just crushes, and it's an area where we don't really get to see The Rock do that too much. And like I said, the brutality is so much fun for me, and how he plays this really works. He's born to be a superhero, even though he's not, like, technically a superhero. And he really did pour everything into this, and you feel that in the performance and just what he pulls off. You know, there's some things that I think The Rock is going to be able to say, I was responsible for all these things, and I'm going to just sit there and go, thank you, man. Thank you. Like, at least if you're pulling these things off, it's a highly entertaining movie, and he absolutely crushes. Aldous Hodge, born to play Hawkman. I need a Hawkman movie today. Like, or a TV show or something, because that story is so fascinating. That was a character I wanted to have more development and have more in the movie, because Hodge crushes it, man. Like, when he's not suited up and he's just standing opposite Black Adam, or some of the conversations he's having, or the things that he's doing, I'm just here for all of it. And then the action, I mean, that dude holds his own going toe-to-toe with The Rock, and that says all you need to know. I mean, but how they utilize him, like I said, the stuff in the sky, phenomenal. And the visual effects, we're gonna say the visual effects throughout as we mention these characters, but, like, the stuff with Black Adam and like, Hawkman could have looked really video gamey, but it doesn't. They're stellar, pristine, superb visual effects everywhere. Certainly for Hawkman, most definitely for Pierce Brosnan's Dr. Fate. He's my second favorite visual effect thing in the movie. And The Rock's Black Adam is my third. Those visual effects between those two, like the lightning stuff and what Black Adam is doing from a speed standpoint, are phenomenal. And what you get for Dr. Fate, like, oh wow, it so exceeded my expectations. Yes, there's some Doctor Strange vibes for sure, and yeah, there are elements that feel like things we've seen before, but I really felt like they did enough stuff to create things that felt original that I hadn't seen on screen before. And the way Dr. Fate just can come in and do stuff, I was just like, yes, man, like marvelous stuff. And when you're talking visual effects and the look and feel, and my favorite thing visual effect wise, Quintessa Swindell's Cyclone stole my heart, man. She was just magnificent to watch on screen. I mean, the way the cyclone wind works, and the way the color plays with the wind, and the way she's able to pick things up and contribute to fighting against somebody that she couldn't stand toe to toe and hit with, was just awesome. I just wish that her character had anything else other than that. Like, she gets no time really outside of actiony things to do much, and with the very, like, she gets like one bit of quick exposition, and like what she does there and what she does in the action, I wanted more of Quintessa Swindell. She seemed like she could have been a huge diamond in the rough in this movie, but what we get, at least visually for Cyclone, is marvelous. And then Noah Centineo gets served a little bit better than Cyclone. He's kind of your main comic relief cut, anytime you need to laugh or something, and he brings a lot of charisma. I really did dig his relationship with Dwayne Johnson and the Black Adam and Atom Smasher stuff. Like I said, they've been tight in the comics before, so that was fun to kind of watch, and I think Centennial has a lot of fun with the role, even though you're going to get Deadpool and Flash vibes from a lot of the stuff that you see here. But ultimately, like, what you get from the main core of action set pieces and superheroes and comic books feeling like they're coming to life, it's a lot of fun. It's just, I think some of the stories are underserved, the script is a little wonky, and it's just, there are times where, like, it's cringe-worthy with the kid, and I don't know, man, like, it doesn't quite hit, but this movie is a ton of fun. And the one other thing that the movie does that I did find interesting, and certainly speaks to the fact that I think The Rock wants the Snyderverse back, is there are, like, Snyder vibes in here. There's a lot of slow-mos, there's a lot of needle drops. Took me out of it at first, but I think the needle drops work pretty well, and all those sequences are a lot of fun. And that stuff certainly adds to the film in certain ways. But it's just like, it felt like it was so close. And if you would have just enhanced 2 or 3 elements to it, this could have been like a tremendous movie. But doesn't take big enough swings. And outside of the action, I was left wanting a little bit more. The other thing too is the movie feels a little bit long. It does that like double ending thing where it's like, oh, the movie's wrapping up, it's over. Oh wait, no, we have another half hour to go. And that's always kind of rough. Now the only other thing that I'll say, and it's the thing that I got the most excited about, that post-credit scene is legit. Even though it was spoiled by the trades and The Rock himself, basically, it hits. I mean, when it happens, I screamed. A lot of people in the theater screamed. Everybody cheered. And the moment itself, I was just like, literally, if this movie gives me this and where this movie could go, I'm going to be very, very happy. And if one day they at least put Shazam on screen with Black Adam, I'll be really, really happy. But I do think you could do some interesting things in the Black Adam 2. The next time he shows up, you could see some interesting things. You could do different things with the character. And where he ultimately ends up does feel like it's the right spot for him. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. Let's get the C-Maniacs up. Like I said, the writing here, not great. Very generic comic book movie tropes everywhere. Stuff straight up ripped and borrowed from other movies. It's rocky real early, settles in and kind of becomes a pretty great thrill ride for most of the movie, but mishandles some of the things it's going for, even though I did appreciate some of the anti-hero stuff tied into what's going on with Black Adam. Direction-wise, it doesn't feel necessarily like there's anything that like marks this as a Call It Sarah movie. I think he serves The Rock really well. But I don't think he serves the movie that great. The movie does feel a bit messy. But when you get past those things, The Rock is tremendous. Aldous Hodge, Pierce Brosnan, Quintessa Swindell, Noah Centineo, those 4 stole the movie. I think at times I was enjoying the JSA stuff even more than I was enjoying the Black Adam stuff. And it's not a knock to anybody. It's just like they crushed on screen. And it was cool to see them go up with, go head to head with Black Adam. And what The Rock gives you, while it doesn't always feel 100% true to the character, I think really works inside the context of what he's trying to do in this movie. And, there's some things that I would have changed or would have played more into or cut back on. But ultimately, this thing is a lot of fun. And yeah, it unfortunately, I think, kind of highlights Martin Scorsese's, like, comic book movies are just roller coasters. Because it doesn't really do much other than be a really awesome roller coaster ride. But, that being said, I'm always here to have a good freaking time, man. Like I said, if somebody came up to me and was like, hey, you want to go see Black Adam? I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll go watch it again. It's a lot of fun. And I go 3 out of 5 C-Maniacs in that regard. I think this thing is more good than bad. I understand why critics are getting on it, but I understand why audiences are loving it. And hopefully, like I said, if this brings about the things that I think we could get coming from this movie, then it's a big old W for the C-Man. So I go 3 out of 5. Now I want to know what you're thinking. Anything you guys got? You've seen the movie. It's been out, obviously, since last night. People in New York saw it last week. The Rock's been bringing it to different places before it premiered, but now that it's out, if you've seen it, keep it spoiler free. But did you like it? Did you not like it? What was working? If you're a comic book fan, like, what was popping? There's lots of comic book notes, but I felt like you could have had more Easter eggs in here or leaned more into those types of things for the comic book fan that felt for me were missing. Did you pick up on more? What did you think of the JSA? Did you want more story there? What'd you think of this take on Black Adam and where we ultimately end up? And without spoiling it, are you excited about the possible things that could be coming? Or are you just not here for what we got? And if you haven't seen it, have I excited you at all? Are you weary? Were you already weary? Are you going to see this in the theater? Or are you going to wait to see it on the screen at home when it hits streaming at some point? I think this thing's going to need a bigger box office than normal. Or at least a successful box office to see, I think, the things that The Rock wants to maybe happen in the DCEU. So if you're a fan of him, you want to see the DCEU do some crazy stuff before maybe it gets sold over to Comcast, go see this movie. It's not a waste of time. That's for sure. So anything that you guys got, man, leave it down below in the comments section. Look forward to talking to you down there. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, you want to come hang out with C-Man anytime we're talking movies, TV, trailer, reactions. I got some of those coming. I got some movie reviews coming. You want to be here for all those. You haven't, you want to show a little love and support, well, hey, come join C-Maniac Nation. You can do all that stuff. You interact with a really awesome community. You know how much I love you guys. So if you want to do that, simple. Jump over there, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell if you want those alerts. And until next time, for the C-Man Cinema Sit Down, I've been the C-Man. I'm signing off. Peace. Oh, hey, what's going on? You must be sticking around because you're looking for more content featuring this guy. Well, guess what? You're in the right place. You can check out more videos right here and right here. And if you have and you want to come join that C-Maniac Nation, you can hit that subscribe right over there.